All right, here you go. Just waiting for that little eye to come up and see what happens.
It's always me that's out of control.
All right, there we go. Y'all ready?
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Here we
Yes,
go.
sir.
Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast with your host, Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, Matt with Wacky Works Workshop, Jen with Jen's Turns, Jamie with JP Woodwork, and Jake with Northside Custom Crafts. Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast, episode 32. And I'm Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks. And today we have Stephanie with the Country Porch Swing. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Thanks for coming on and joining us today. And we're just going to get right into it. We usually, every guest we have on, we'd like to know a little bit about yourself and how you got started doing what you do.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've been asked that a few times and I'm still trying to figure that out. But, I really don't know. It all just happened so fast. So I think I've always been kind of creative as a kid, hands-on, messing with stuff, playing with stuff. And part of it, I think, is my family. My grandpa was a woodworker, so even when I was little, 2 or 3 years old, he plopped me up on the workbench and let me play with the tools, the hand saws and stuff like that. So, just knowing that and being around that all the time. My mom, she's super crafty. I think she's dabbled in just about every craft you can imagine: quilting, embroidery, a little bit of woodworking. Even when I was little, she was making those little bead ornaments, those vintage things. She's always just been making stuff, crocheting and all that. And then my dad, he is extremely handy. He would fix anything, build anything. And I don't even know how he learned how to do any of that stuff, because that was way before YouTube was a thing where you could just click a button and learn how to do it. And he always made me help. So, when I was a teenager, my brake pads would go out and he would not change them for me. He would make me do it. I did not appreciate
That's what I'm talking about.
at all.
That's a good dad.
He was a good dad. We lived out in the country on dirt roads, and I'd get stuck in the ditch on a rainy day and he would come help me, but he would make me get down and get in the mud and do all that stuff. So I've just never been afraid of getting dirty and doing all that kind of stuff. So I think that's kind of part of it. And then I'm always got to be extra with things. So and as a kid, we would have these projects at school, and if I found them even the slightest bit interesting, I'd go all out. You make a Valentine's box at school and put your Valentines in there. And I was making a 3D paper mache one, it was ridiculous. So, it's always been in me, but I didn't start actually really doing anything as like a business or anything until like my mid 30s. And it kind of started with refinishing furniture in the garage. It was fun. And started making signs, like a hand painting them, and then people started asking me to make them stuff. They're like, that's cool. Will you make me one? I'll pay you. And I was like, whoa, people will pay me to do this?
Wow, money.
Wow. Okay. So then, I was working full time as a dental hygienist, and I'd have coworkers ask me to make them things and they'd pay me. And then they're like, you should start an Etsy. And I'm like, okay. And I started an Etsy, and I really didn't do a whole lot with it. I think I sold like one sign, and I was like, oh, this is dumb. And and then I got a vinyl cutter, like everybody does, so I could make the stencils. And I ended up, I dabble a little bit in woodworking, but I wouldn't call myself a woodworker in any way. I can make a really great floating shelf, and I can follow Anna White plans like nobody's business, but I don't really know a lot, and I'm so impatient, and I don't take the time to actually learn real skills like that. So I just I don't like to call myself a woodworker. But yeah, it just all kind of ran into whatever this is. And I ended up with laser because I wanted a CNC, for the signs, making 3D stuff for the signs. And then I found the Glowforge on the internet. Like, the Glowforge is just everywhere with their marketing and stuff. And I ended up with the Glowforge, and yeah, here I am. So it's kind of cool, but I had no plans of this ever being a thing for me. So
Yep.
All right,
There we are.
Everybody
Like
at
all
home.
of us.
Here we are. All right, for everybody at home, my name is Jake Thompson, and I'm from Northside Custom Crafts. And I usually do an icebreaker. Mine today is going to be, why do you think you're too cool to be a dental hygienist?
Oh, let me just tell you the ways. No, I'm not too cool to be dental hygienist. I'm old and my back hurts, so that's why. Part of it.
We can relate.
Yeah.
Start every morning you wake up, that you like this morning, it's like something hurts, something ails you now, and then you start walking and it's like, man, now it's my ankle. Trying to get to the shop, it's like, geez, it's just like you start breaking down once you hit a certain point.
It's like sleeping hurts. How does that happen? I don't know. That right?
Snap, crackle, pop.
So true. So true.
I used to, when my kids were a little bit younger, you'd try to go listen to what they're doing, and I can't even sneak up on them anymore because my hips are popping and my ankles are cracking, and I'm going up to the door. I'm like, well, never mind. Yeah.
I need a moment.
Right.
Just we're gonna have some pretty good reels on this, so
Snap, crackle,
just so
pop.
you know.
Can't wait.
Go ahead, Jenny.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Jen with Jen's Turn. And Stephanie, one of the things that I really like that is a little bit different on your account than a lot of the other ones that I see is you've started incorporating the UV printer into your laser work also. And I love that pop of color. So how did you come into the UV printing world?
I've been researching UV printers for probably 3 years, but at least 2. And I don't know how I found them. I'm in all the Facebook groups and everything. So I think somehow it just came up and I saw it, people post pictures of things and you see them. And from the moment I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is something that I want to do. But the price point is just, it's way higher than lasers. So it was always one of those things that I thought, yeah, it would be nice, but I don't think that I'll ever be able to do that just because of the cost and the learning curve, the amount of information that's available on it. It's just not as readily available as, laser stuff. And I didn't know a lot about it. So, just, you get something stuck in your head, at least I do. And
Yes, I do.
You decide you want it really bad, and then you can't stop thinking about it. And no matter how hard you try, it's always there. And then you see other people doing it, and it becomes an obsession. So I obsessed about it for probably at least 2 years. And then, gradually you start to convince yourself, you know what, I can do this. Like, I'm going to do this, dang it. And I just started saving and planning and, kind of rearranging my spending a little bit. And I ended up with one, and I'm so excited about it. It's been awesome so far, but I haven't gotten to do as much as I want with it yet. So once the holiday season's over, I'm really diving in.
Yeah,
So
I'm excited to see what you do.
Do you kind of so when I'm going to buy a new tool, I have to process it for a while, but my processing is trying to figure out how I'm going to break it to my wife, right? How I'm going to put it down.
That's part of it.
So she agrees, like, oh, okay. And now it's just like, I just get the eye roll and just like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
Like that to your husband, is that kind of like part of the deal where he was just like, you're trying to figure out how this is gonna go down?
So it started with the laser, and I wanted the Glowforge so bad, and so I kept showing him pictures. I'm like, see, look what I could be making, or see, look what I could be doing, and he's just like, yeah, that's really cool. Great, and I just kept constantly, and I think I just annoy him so much that he's like, for God's sakes, just get the thing, and leave me alone. No, but then for Christmas, he gave me a little piece of paper that said, Glowforge for Christmas, go ahead and order it or something like that. And I was like, yes, finally broken down. And if I really wanted, it's not like, he's like, no, you can't, but we try to make responsible financial decisions. And so, and then it was the same thing with the UV, but that's a much bigger deal. And so it was always kind of like, the same thing. Look what this does. And he's a big fisherman. He loves to fish. And I discovered that you can UV print on fishing lures. So,
that was your angle.
I don't know that it really works.
Look at this
but
lure.
I think it's funny. Yeah. So I would tell him, like, hey, look what I could be printing on. I could print you fishing lures before you go on your Minnesota trip, And I'm like, Yeah.
There you go.
This is for you.
It's not even for me. This is for you.
Exactly.
So much for you. Yeah. He tolerates me. He does a good job.
There you go. So Stephanie, I'm Matt Wackerle with Wacky Works. What is it that you your workspace? What is it all? I mean, I've seen a couple of things, shots of it, but where are you at? What size you in? What kind of tools do you got in there?
I am in my unfinished basement, but I'm lucky enough that it's pretty open. I don't know the square footage or anything like that, but it's unfinished, no framework or anything, so I can expand, pretty easily. And I've got my laser. I've got my UV printer now, and I've got a whole section. It kind of looks like a warehouse with storage and shelves that go to the back. And then on the other sides, we actually have a living space set up where we have a TV and stuff and exercise equipment. Not that I use that for my business, but and then his fishing corner, which I keep telling
Not
him
with those
I'm
bad hips.
eventually kick him out of. Yeah. Yeah. I got to get on the rotary bike and get my hips worked out. Yeah. Warm things up for the day
for those
before I go over to the laser. Yeah. And actually, the funny thing is I used to be really self-conscious about my space because it's insulation and concrete floor and open ceiling. I mean, it's a basement. Yeah. And so like posting on social media and stuff, I was always just like, oh, I have an ugly space. I'm in my basement. How embarrassing. Nobody wants to see that because, everybody wants to see all the pretty workspaces. And but I finally just got over it and I was like, whatever. But
yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. And
there you go.
people tell me when I share it, sometimes they're like, wow, I would love to have that space. So I'm like, thanks.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you spend money refinishing your basement, then you can't buy fancy UV printers and all the fun tools.
That's
Priorities,
right.
man.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because we were going to finish the basement, and we looked into it, and the prices of building and stuff like that had gone up. Like from when we built our house to the time that we got a quote to finish our basement, it was like double the cost to finish the basement. So we're like, nope, never mind. And I'm so glad that we didn't now because I wouldn't have room. It would be a bedroom where I'm at. So I wouldn't have any room.
That's right.
For that. It worked out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hello, everybody. I am Jamie from JP Woodwork. So first of all, welcome to the show, Stephanie. So it's clear to see that you obviously like working with laser beams. So in your opinion, what wattage? I had to say that slowly. What
What?
wattage? What wattage of laser would be good for someone wanting to get into the craft if they were just starting out, or have you even got a particular laser that you might refer someone to?
You know, that's a tough question because it depends on what you're making and, you know, what you plan on doing with it, what you're going to cut with it. And not necessarily the wattage, I don't think is as big of a deal, but knowing the type of laser that you're buying. I've seen a lot lately, especially with like some of the smaller diode lasers, because they have a really tempting price point. And if you're just getting started and you don't know a lot about lasers, you jump on that. But then people are getting really disappointed when they find out that they can't cut certain materials. You know, I got this laser because I wanted to cut acrylic, and they end up with a diode laser and they can't cut through clear or blue acrylic. And they're like, well, shoot, I bought all of this acrylic fancy stuff and now I can't do anything with it. So, you know, I think that's more important. You know, obviously wattage matters a little bit, but really doing your research and figuring out what you're buying is a big deal in that case, I think.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I always ask the guests that come on, since we all do content creating part of the deal that we do, how do you manage the aspect of having a job and trying to put all this stuff in kids and family? You know, because that's usually a tough thing for a lot of people that you hear out there. So how do you manage it, just trying to get all your content out and stay relevant and get it done on a timely fashion?
It's really hard. My kids are pretty well grown. My daughter's 20 and she's moved out, and my son's 16, so they're self-sufficient. I don't have to.
They'll come back. They'll come back.
They're like yo-yos.
They come back.
I don't think she wants to come back, honestly.
They never want to come back,
but they come back.
Yeah, I did. I went back, but yeah. So that's not as big. I don't have small children, so and this is my full-time business. So, which surprisingly, you think you quit your full-time job and you think you're going to have all this extra time, you know, and somehow you don't have.
You have a demanding boss.
Yeah, she really is. She's always on me.
It's rough. It's rough.
Never gives you a raise. Nothing. Yeah.
No. But yeah, it's so as far as content creation goes, I just try to not be too nitpicky. I mean, I'm on TikTok, and TikTok's really easy because you can post. It doesn't have to be carefully curated and pretty pictures, and you know, you don't have to do a whole lot of editing, and that's why I like it. So you can post quick little silly videos or just a short little process video, and it's okay, and people like that. So I try to just record what I'm doing as I'm doing it instead of really going out of my way to record special content for a certain thing, which I do sometimes, but you know, and then you just put it together later, or you post it real quick and then move on to the next thing. So that hasn't been too difficult, but just trying to keep track of them all. And, you know, I'm trying to grow my Instagram now a little bit because I neglected it for so long. So I keep having to remind myself to go back and post something on there, even if it's recycled. But it's just constantly, you know, like you're getting pulled in different directions. And I have, you know, Facebook groups and stuff too, and trying to make sure you're entertaining them. And it's a full-time job in itself, honestly, I feel like.
It's a whole thing.
It is a whole thing.
It's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So you went from being a dental hygienist to doing this full time. Do you feel like you did it too soon, or do you think you could have done it sooner? Do you ever think about that?
I think I did it at the right time. I mean, I was ready to be done in dentistry earlier, obviously, but I don't think I would have been ready, you know, financially and mentally to run my business any sooner than I did. I had back surgery, so that was part of it, back problems, and I had back surgery and stuff like that. So just the dental hygiene was tough. And then all that leading up to it, I had lost my dad. He passed away. And, I just wasn't in a good headspace then. You start reevaluating life and thinking about like what's really important and, I'm not going to work for the man anymore, stuff like that. So, why am I, you just start really thinking about what's important in life and taking risks more. And, he didn't get to enjoy retirement. He was planning for it and he didn't get to do this. And I don't want that to happen to me. So I need to start, trying to do what I can to, do all the, it all kind of ended up pushing me into saying, you know what, I think I'm going to try it. I'm going to try to run it. And if it's an utter failure, then I can always go back to cleaning teeth. I still have my license and I can always do that if I need to. I don't think I ever will, but I can if I need to.
I kind of, just to elaborate on that a little bit, I do the same thing. I do it full time. And I kind of figured, even if it fails, when I'm on my deathbed, I can say I tried rather than I wish I would have tried that. So it's like one of those things, taking the leap is definitely, I think, worth it. Yeah.
I mean, it's easy. I don't want to say it's easy to go get another job because it's not necessarily easy, but it's definitely worth it if you feel like you can do it. To just give it a try, because like you said, you don't want to ever live with that regret, or just let that fear stop you from doing what you want to do. I think it's been great. So I'm having a good time.
Good.
Nice.
Seems successful.
Makes it worth it.
Yeah.
So I saw one of your TikToks, Stephanie, and I would see your posts and your earrings and everything, and I'm like, I recognize that pattern. But I didn't know. I was like, is she doing this, or is this coming where I think it's coming from? And it's all leading up to say Smoky Hill. Love Smoky Hill probably just as much as you do. What's your favorite go-to product for them?
For them, it's just it was the printed acrylic. Now I print my own, but I didn't really buy anything other than their printed acrylic, but their quality of their acrylic is really nice. So I like that. And there's a few other acrylic suppliers that I use too, but they have great stuff.
Yeah, they have really fun stuff in there. I like it.
Yeah. I know I've always reverted back to because my wife was thinking about getting into that, and I'm like, let me go to TikTok, because that's where I found you on TikTok, and I would save that stuff, because you do other things, and we all do, or Jen and I do laser, and so does Matt. And I would go back on there, and I was like, I know she did a post because my wife was wanting to get into that stuff, and I had specifically saved that because I was like, I know it started with the nest, but let me go find that. And I went back to my saved TikToks, and there it was. It's like Smoky. There it is. So we looked it up. I was like, there's that pattern acrylic. Yeah.
Everybody recognizes their acrylic. It's so funny because I share, my suppliers most of the time and all that. It's no secret. And most of the time I feel like you haven't heard of that. Like, what?
Right.
When they're like, where did you buy that? I didn't even know patterned acrylic exists. And I'm like, how did you not know? But then it's tough too, because then when you like open something like TikTok Shop or something, and you're trying to peddle your goods, you're selling stuff, and people are like, well, where did you buy all the supplies to make what you're selling? And you're like, come on, man, can you just message me privately or something? So it's hard to there's a fine line,
There's usually not a dumb question, but you fixed that.
Yeah, it's like I did it to myself because I share so much that people just don't even think about it when you're trying to sell your products, your finished products, and they're like, well, where can I buy all that stuff? I want to make the same exact thing as you. I'm like, cool.
Yeah. There was a post in a Facebook group that I'm in, and they were talking about being at a craft fair, and they put two laser product people right next to each other, and they had different stuff, and so they thought, well, it's going to be fine. And one was a female and one was a male, and the female had all the Smoky Hill and all the welcome home designs and all the pretty stuff, right? And the laser guy, he's like, she's all, oh no, we're next to each other, hopefully we'll both do well. He's all, I'm not worried, I know I'm good. And she's like, oh, okay.
Oh, come on.
So by the end of the day, he wasn't getting many sales, and she was like had a steady flow. And so he kept popping over and asking her questions. Well, what about this? Well, how do you do that?
No,
Well, where do you
no.
get this? And she goes, by the end of it, you guys, am I mean? Because I wouldn't tell him the secret. And I didn't tell him about Smoky Hill. And she's like,
Yeah,
now, if he had been nice, I probably would have shared. But he wasn't nice.
right.
Hey, that's the theme. That's the theme of this week.
Yeah.
Be nice to people. Be nice.
Be nice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
By golly.
Don't
Yeah.
burn those
Cool.
bridges, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been, you said that when you start thinking about things, you kind of in it. So what kind of CNC were you thinking about? Where did you go down that road? Kind of curious there.
I really the main one, and it could be like the marketing, was the Shipoko, or however you say it. I didn't get
Mhm.
too deep into really learning what exactly they all did and what the differences were. I just was looking at the pretty pictures and thinking that looks really cool. I want one, and but I did decide on the laser instead because I thought that the laser was a little more versatile. It wasn't as messy, I could do it in my house and not have to be out in the garage and all the dust, and the laser looked easier. And I'm pretty good at figuring out stuff, but if I don't have to, if I
Makes
can
sense to
find
me.
another way that's not as difficult, I'd rather choose the path of least resistance, and I thought, that CNC looks a little more complicated, and the laser just laser. So that's how it basically ended up. I still kind of look at the CNCs though and think I could do some cool stuff with that, but would I really use it that much? Is it worth it? Probably not.
So you didn't get that friend going, poke, poke, poke. Look at the CNC, poke. Now you ain't got one of those?
I'm doing that to my friends with the UV printer now. I'm like, you want one?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm taking pictures of the stuff that I'm making, and I'm like, hey, check out what I just did today. And she's like, dang it, stop sending me this stuff.
Well, I have
We
one
tend
with
to-
there, too.
We tend to do that to each other when we're looking at stuff. So it's like, did you get that?
I say,
So it was
Joey, you buy that yet?
Jake. Yeah. So when these new Bamboo 3D printers come out, I was looking at them and I'm like, yeah, I eventually put them in here. And then Jake ended up getting one, and I was like, every day we talk every day. And he's like, have you ordered them yet? I'm like, no, Jake, I haven't. They're in my cart. It finally came to the day where I pulled the trigger and I ordered them. So it's just, we are like, Jen needs a drum sander. So it's kind of like, Jen, Black Friday,
It's on sale.
10% off.
Yeah.
Woodcraft
Yeah.
or
Might as well
Rockler.
just buy it. Just get
It's
over
about
with.
time to get it. About time to pull that trigger and get that jet drum sander you've been wanting, So yeah.
Yeah, no, and people in the maker community in general, if you're kind of even somewhat close with them, they're really bad enablers. I mean, we all are. So
Yeah.
It's
Welcome to this
just-
group.
Uh-huh.
yeah. I mentioned to a few friends that I want a laser dedicated specifically to doing tumblers because I hate switching
I thought
my
that too.
rotary over. And they came out with that Thunderbolt, and I am like, oh my gosh, that would be perfect. It's small, but I love doing tumblers. I don't do that many, but I had one day where I had like 3 orders of tumblers, and I was really getting mad because I was like, man, I have to stop everything I'm doing. I have to, hook up my rotary, and I was like, Thunderbolt, and I was like, ooh,
That's easier to spell than it is to set up.
and I was like, oh my gosh, I just got the UV printer. My husband will literally kill me. He's like,
Yeah, I have like 25 tumblers sitting over here to the side. And I'm like, I could push it one more day. I can wait. I can wait. And I'm like, yeah. Like, tomorrow's tumbler day. I have no other choice.
Yeah,
it's easier.
To dedicate like a whole time a day or a whole day to it, just because of all the switching everything out. And it's not that hard to switch it. It just takes time. And
yeah,
and it saves more time to buy it than it does to set it up. I mean, you gotta look at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
You'd
like
actually
when you
make
find
money.
something on
You'd make more money. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like
That's
you're
how you
saving
gotta-
money. Yeah.
You have to buy it.
And then you could just make the tumblers.
can't afford
the
not to
fishing
buy that.
tumblers for your
Exactly.
husband, so you can take his coffee
like the
when
way
he goes
you
fishing.
I'm telling you.
You can set it up.
I'll
to
spend your
engrave
money, too.
lures.
Hey, yeah.
You're
We're
engraving
good at
lures
that.
now.
By golly, we're good at that. I've come
So
up.
I mentioned that.
Go ahead.
I mentioned that to a friend about the bolt, and then he was in my messages like, so did you buy it yet? You might as well just buy it. And I was like, come on. I'm like, stop. And he's like, you might as well. He's like, I love mine. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, just get out of here.
Just get out of here.
And if you use this code,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
Jake's pretty bad.
The chat knows what we're talking about.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
There's a few out there that we've influenced on buying certain things.
Hey, we're influencers.
exactly. That's our job.
I don't even do it on purpose. It just happens.
I
It just
know.
comes natural. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife got into where I'll be at work and I'm like, I know that I'm fixing to get something and I'm just waiting for the picture to come in. But she now sends me the pictures of only the Festool stuff, right? So when I get Festool in, she won't send nothing else but that, because they leave it right there by the door, and she'll send me a picture. You got another tool in, and I'm like, hey, well, go ahead and take it to the barns.
With the other boxes.
Doesn't go over well.
Yeah, get it off the porch.
We don't need that getting taken.
Rained on. Yeah.
That's how I am when my husband gets fishing stuff. It's like, another thing from Tackle Warehouse. Like, are you like, seriously, you got 3 yesterday. What's going on? I don't ask questions anymore.
Pick your battles.
Right, you
Pick your
could've
battles.
bought
Pick
you
your
one of those.
battles.
Yeah.
That's
You
it.
gotta-
That's it.
You learned.
Yeah.
I've learned. It's like, hey, I want to get this. Oh, go ahead, honey. Order it. You just go ahead and order it, because I already know I have something else coming.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we're good.
Sounds good.
April says, yes, Stephanie, stop showing us all the dank UV printed goodness. I have to have one.
Oh, that's hilarious. I can't stop. I get too excited.
That's funny.
There we
Yeah,
go.
go
All right. So, if you were to write a Laser Beam for Dummies book, what's the first 3 things you would put in there?
You said this is for Jamie.
Hello, Jamie. This is for Jamie.
Number 1, test your materials. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to test and learn what the settings do and what they're for, so it's like, I have so many people ask for settings, which is fine. We all got to start somewhere, but really learning what your laser does and learning what speed and power and stuff like that and how they'll affect each other will really benefit you later in being able to operate your machine and make you more independent as a laser owner. So and not being afraid to ruin stuff, because you're going to. So many people are scared they're gonna ruin material, and it's gonna happen. So you just gotta get over it. Nobody wants to waste money. Nobody wants to ruin material, but it's going to happen. So, just start throwing stuff in the laser and seeing what happens, and keep a fire extinguisher nearby. So,
Man, you took the words right out of my mouth, because I almost torched mine down. I almost torched mine down at the head of the throttle.
yeah,
I was chalking flames out of it.
Yeah, I think that was 3 things. I'm not sure, but we'll go with that.
Yeah,
and it has an emergency stop, so just stand by it, and if something starts looking suspicious, hit that button and you're good.
The house isn't
Yesterday
burning
was
down
my day for wasting material. Yesterday, everything I touched was like, nope. Well, there goes another
There are
sheet.
those days.
What?
Yeah.
That's when you go get
There's
ice
days
cream.
where I just walk away. I keep messing stuff up. I need to just take a break.
Yeah. Shut it down.
I took a break, and then I kept telling myself, I'm so thankful it was not tumbler day, because I would have had a $50 Yeti in there instead of $5 worth of plywood. It would have been horrible.
Yeah. So one time I agreed to engrave on Yetis and I did it for a friend, so it wasn't as big of a deal, but she sent me, and it wasn't very many. I think it was like 8 or something. But I was like, fine, because I don't do the Stanleys or the Yetis because I don't want to replace them. I just don't want to spend the money and have to replace it if my laser decides to eat it. So I agreed, and sure enough, I had done 2, and then this is before I started sending my job to the laser and hitting start from the laser. For some reason, it just decided to engrave basically hieroglyphics on my tumbler, and I'm like, what the heck?
Oh.
All of them were fine, and then this one just has all this weird stuff going on.
That was custom.
Yeah, that was great.
That's right.
So it's my tumbler now, and
At a 0.
I use it for coffee, and it has part of their logo and some other undecipherable whatever on it, and it is what it is. But yeah, it is. So yeah.
So that's that kind of a good segue there. So we've had some other guests on before. So they do unique things with their mess ups, right? So what do you do? How many do you have? Like, some person puts the stuff up on his roof, so it's a friendly reminder, don't do that again. So do you have like a little shelf down there in your basement where you hang your things or whatever? Do you have something like that?
No, most of my mistakes end up in the trash. Out of just like, ooh,
Slam
throw it away.
2 points.
Yeah.
Do that again.
That was awesome.
But tumblers, I'm really, really nitpicky about doing tumblers. I do the tape test, and I test my design before I ever engrave on the tumbler if it's a new design or a new size of tumbler. And I make sure it's perfect, and I don't have any circles that are ovals, and I'm super obsessive about it because it's just my personality. So I don't have a lot of mess ups. Because I take the precautions and the time ahead of time. Not that to say that they don't happen, but with tumblers, not as much. And then the other stuff is usually just wood or acrylic, and that just ends up in the trash. So I don't have any big like walls of fame of mistakes, thankfully. Staring
No
at
no piles of tape or anything like that.
No, that's trash.
A whole cupboard of cups, lasered cups.
Yeah.
I've
Don't look
seen
at this
some
one.
of those. People post and they've got, and I'm like, what are you doing? It's so mean.
Failing.
Yeah.
The first time I've seen a UV printer was when I was looking at your page. So could you quickly just I didn't know it existed. I think it's awesome. until I looked it up, and I'm like, whoo, I got to sell my house. So can you just quickly describe, like, I've never seen it before, so you could describe it to someone like me what it does?
So it's an inkjet printer, but it prints UV curable ink. And so you can basically print, and there's different kind of UV printers, but this is a UV flatbed printer, and you can print on just about any substrate. And it depends. You got to do different things to get it to adhere to some substrates. You can't really print on like silicone. That's one you can't print on. But acrylic, wood, some glass is a little finicky. Leatherette, I can print leatherette patches and leather plastics. I mean, you name it, you can pretty much print on it. And so it's really versatile, especially with the laser, because you're just unlimited possibilities, really. And it's just awesome. It's really cool. So
does it do different colors, or is it just black, or
any color?
Like, what's the
it's CMYK, and any color, just like you were printing on a piece of paper, it just prints any color. So, like this, I haven't done a lot with it, so I'm excited about posting, and I'm glad you said that you didn't know about it until you saw my video, because that's kind of what I want to do, is really bring awareness to what it is. And it's a hefty price point, so there's a barrier to entry there, but just knowing that it's a possibility is really cool, and so many people don't know about it. So
I
that's
had
kind
no
of what
idea.
I want to do, is I want to share it. I'm
Well,
excited about it. I just have to learn it first. So
I mean, just in this room right here, we do lasers and 3D printing and resin casting and woodworking, and I never knew, I no clue that it existed. So I immediately was like, what's this? And I was super interested, and I'll probably look into it more. I probably won't buy one, but I'll check out stuff that's made with it and
you
check
never
it out.
know. You don't know.
Hey,
Don't say you'll
don't spend my money. I'm the instigator here.
Sometimes
You're
buy it,
gonna
Jake. It's
go
just cheaper to
down
buy
the
it.
rabbit hole. If I have anything to say about it.
Jake, did you buy it yet?
Here we go.
Settle down now. Settle down.
I'll start my post tomorrow.
So Mark from the chat would like to know, does it cure in the printer, or is another step needed?
It cures immediately. So the printer head has the nozzles, the print nozzles on it, and right next to it is the light. So if you watch any of my videos, you can see, I show it, you can see it light as it goes across. So it lays down that ink and it cures, and it lays down the ink and it cures. So it's cured immediately as it lays the ink, and then when your project comes out, you can touch it and everything, it's done. So, and that's what's cool about it, is it's just basically one step and you have a beautiful full color project. So
is it
Nice.
fast, like a laser fast, or is it slow, like, I don't even know what to compare it to?
Nah, that's getting it on, man. I was watching her videos, man. Check out her page. That's what we're here for. Links in the description, people.
Yeah, Jenny. Yeah, Jenny. Come on.
I'm trying to educate the people I'm watching.
Well, they can go watch her videos.
We gotta send them, make them curious.
There you go.
No, yeah, it's fast. Not super fast. So like if I had to engrave a tumbler versus printing one, the printing process would probably be faster. That being said, you can spend a lot of time preparing your designs. I mean, we're talking full color artwork and stuff like that. So, it's a lot easier to throw an engravable SVG or whatever into the laser and hit go. You have to really think about the color and the plates, and this was the whole learning curve for me, is trying to figure out how to work this thing, because not only do you have to learn about full color, You have to learn how to run the printer. You have to learn how to use the program that runs the printer, which is really confusing at first. And then if you're like me and you've never used anything like Illustrator or Corel Draw, you have to learn all that too. I used to use just Lightburn to design most of my laser files, or Silhouette Business Edition, like if we go way back. So I had never used anything like that. So I'm teaching myself like so many different things all at once, and it's a lot. So I'm slow at it right now because I'm thinking, okay, I got to lay down this white layer if I want to put color on there so that you can see the color, and what order do I put it in? It's a lot. So
That's a lot.
yeah. Yeah.
When you posted today the spruce, I can't remember the funny saying right now. Like thick and sprucey
I
or
like
something like
thick
that.
and sprucey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Two
I
C's.
love that one. Yeah, two C's. It was very nice.
Yeah. That was the first.
That was just
wood
Jen
sign
saying.
I've done.
That was just Jen saying, yeah, I do follow you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. She's just trying to
Always
dig herself
intimidate
out of
me.
She's over there like Googling my stuff. Like, yeah,
I'm
I
like-
saw you posted that today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Who's up? Is it Matt?
I thought it was Jim, but it could be me. So you mentioned all the programs that you use. I'm stealing it, Jim. You mentioned all the programs that you use. What is the program that you use the most, and what are the ones you find the most easiest? Because I mean, I'm having trouble with my CNC stuff right now, but Lightburn seems a little easier for me. But what about you?
Lightburn. I use Lightburn the most,
Mhm.
and it's a really great program. And I didn't give it a chance at first because I came from the Glowforge, and it has its own weird cloud-based stuff. But so I had always just designed in Silhouette Business Edition because I came from the vinyl cutter and yada yada yada. And then I finally, people kept saying, use Lightburn. Why aren't you using Lightburn? And I was like, I don't know it, you know. And so I just forced myself to sit down and start playing with it. And I was like, this is easy, you know. Once you start figuring out the little features and where to click and stuff, it's really easy to operate. It's very user friendly. And now I pretty much design completely in Lightburn for my laser files. But that being said, I don't create really complex designs either. So, you know, it just kind of depends, I think, on what you're making.
Go on, Jen. Go on, Jen.
Sorry.
Whoa.
Mark in the chat says, crud, just watched one of the shorts with the UV printer Stephanie put up. That is really cool. Now I feel that laser engraving is pretty lame. Mark is one of the regular watchers on Jake's channel, and he has a laser engraver.
So Mark, do you have it in the cart already?
In the cart
Is
yet?
it in the cart yet, buddy? You can't afford not to get that thing. It does everything.
Stephanie, you got a discount code?
If you got a code for that,
itself.
You got a code? You got affiliation code for that, Stephanie?
I don't.
Yeah, you got any
know.
affiliate codes?
I got one for a laser if you want a laser, but not a user.
No, those are lame. Those are lame.
Those are
lame.
lame. Yeah. Yeah, care about that.
we like ill-tempered sea bass.
I'm working on them. You know, maybe someday I'll have an affiliate. But, yeah.
All right. So, whilst doing some research for today's show, I was listening to another show that you actually did, which the name escaped me for the time being, but I'll try and think about it. And realised that you were added to what I call the one that got away club. And by that, I basically mean that you replaced your scroll saw with a laser.
Oh,
the question is, do
every
you still
single
have the saw, or is it in the trash?
I still have it.
Yes!
I do. Yeah.
It's in a box holding the door open.
It hasn't seen the light of day for years.
But you've still got it.
And I still have it, and even when I did have it, I hate to break it to you, but I think I used it maybe 3 times.
Yes.
That's all right. That's all right. You haven't. It's not in the trash. That's all right.
It's just
That made her get it. That made her get it, Laser.
Exactly. I'm not going to use this thing.
Kinda. No, it
things
was
that do
really
this.
neat, but I mentioned before, I am very impatient and I don't take the time. Like, I'm all over the place. And, taking the time to actually learn that and get really good at it. I mean, I've seen some amazing things come from scroll saws, and like on Instagram, there's a few accounts that I follow that I'm just amazed at the things that they do. But the amount of patience that they have to have I don't have it in me. Like, I want it done now. I want to be able to see my end product. So
Wah, Jamie.
So scroll saws suck, Jamie.
That's all right. I'm happy with
You
that.
suck
I'm happy
too.
with that result.
He's not on Team
I'm happy
Scroll
with
Saw.
that. I'm happy with that result.
No
It
team scroll
doesn't
saw for
suck.
Stephanie.
No.
It's all right. It's all right.
Those are the
I
big boy toys.
cheer them on from the sidelines. Like, that's
There you
great.
go. It's not in the
awesome.
trash. She hasn't given it away. That's a win from me.
Well,
That's
it
awesome.
might- it might be
It's been 5 minutes.
it could become a trot line wait for her husband's fishing.
Yeah, he could do that.
There you go.
Boat anchor.
Now that you mention it, I should put that on Facebook Marketplace. I don't
There
know
you
what I
go.
do.
There you
Yeah.
go.
There you go.
You
You
have
can
to
get like 50
pay-
bucks for it.
You have to pay somebody to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wah, wah. Yeah.
There.
Wah, wah, wah.
Back to the UV printer there. So are you going to
Okay,
eventually
Dad.
offer printed acrylic for us to purchase, or is this just going to be solely Stephanie's deal, or kind of like what Smokey does? I don't know.
That is not in the plan.
Yeah.
I don't want to say never, and in maybe special cases or something. I don't know, but that is definitely not in the plan. First off, I feel like the logistics of having to be a distributor for something like that is way above what I want to do. Like, storing the acrylic and, just the amount of work that they put into their website and stuff like that. I just have no intention of ever doing that. And that's not even really why. Like, I wanted to get it for me to be able to print my own acrylic, but also print, whatever else I want to print. But I've had a lot of people ask me that. And I'm like, you know what? There are at least 2 that I know of really great suppliers of printed acrylic, and they do a wonderful job. So just go buy from them, and
Yeah.
I just don't want to get into that. And I see like the issues that they deal with customers and just all the, damage control that they have to do. I'm in the Facebook group. I see it and I'm like, ooh, no, I don't think I want to sign up for any of that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I was just curious because could reach out and, hey, we need a piece of acrylic printed.
Yeah.
How about no? How
Big
about no?
seeker.
There's maybe to my close friends and stuff like that I know aren't going to be a pain if I mess something up, or they're not going to bug me, maybe. But
So not Joey.
definitely
Not
don't
Joey.
plan on being a supplier of printed acrylic anytime
But
soon.
so we could just to go a little bit about this. So if I reached out to you and say, hey, can you do my logo on a piece of acrylic, would that be something you would consider doing?
Oh yeah.
Say no.
Like, I could print your logo on there. Yeah.
Tell them, don't
Are
put
we
me on the
talking
spot in
like
front of
one
people.
logo, or you want like a sheet with like all your, it just depends. Am I going to have to design this?
No, just one big logo like myself, just big,
Oh, well,
So short and big.
maybe not as big as me, but you know what I mean.
I can't fit that in the printer.
Oh,
That's what I'm talking about.
It's only 16
On that
by
note-
24.
Oh,
I think we got time. We have time for a speed round here. You ready?
all right.
Sure.
Do it.
Yep. I'm going to say, if you could go back whenever you first started doing this as a hobby, if you could take everything you know now and go give yourself advice back then, what would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself, just do it. Don't be afraid. Social media, I'm actually pretty introverted, believe it or not. And I was really scared to put myself out there on social media. I didn't want to show my face. I didn't want to, talk on the camera and, all this stuff. And then, finally, I just had to get over it. And I wish I would have done that sooner, because I feel like I'd have been further along in my journey, I guess. But yeah, I just think just do it instead of getting that, what do they call it? Analyzation, paralyzation, where you just overthink everything, and it just slows down your progress. And so, just being a little more risky, I guess, would be what I would tell myself.
Nice.
There you go.
I want to say that I love how you handle the people that say, hey, I could buy those for $2 on Temu.
Gotta love 'em.
Yeah. What's your, is that your go-to way to handle trolls, or do you ignore it, or?
We need to know how you do it. Like, how we doing that? I know I said the speed round, but who cares? We need to know this.
It depends on the day. Am I feeling spicy and then something comes up in my comment section? I'm gonna take advantage of it. But I don't comment on every little thing. Sometimes I feel like they're just trying to get attention. That's what they want. So I try not to give it to them. But sometimes it's kind of fun. A little bit, and I don't care what they say.
Yeah.
Some people are like, "Oh, I don't want to post because I'm scared somebody's going to be mean to me." I don't really care. I don't. Most of the time they're just saying it because they're not even a real account. They're just it's just somebody just posting nonsense. So I just like to play with it a little bit and be snarky and sassy, and it boosts the algorithm. I'll get people on there all the time that are like, Don't give them attention. Don't comment on that negativity. I'm like, why? I just got paid for that video and it got how many views? Of course I'm gonna respond. That's silly not to. So, no, yeah, it just depends on the mood.
Some days it's just hold my drink. I got this one.
Yeah. And sometimes it starts out very different. My response in the first take is very different than the one that I post. It takes
how late in the day it is.
Well, I'll have you know, and then later it's like, wow, so it's just take it down a few notches.
So out of the, I'm just going to leave it, let you pick two. What's your best piece that you've ever done, and what's your worst?
My best piece. Okay.
Or favorite worst?
I don't really have any, because I don't really consider myself extremely talented in coming up with like these elaborate pieces or artwork or anything. Most of the stuff that I do is pretty basic. I feel like anybody with a laser could probably do what I'm doing. There's not a whole lot special about it. Earrings and magnets and ornaments and stuff like that. So, I'm not coming up with anything that's it's cool, but it's not like amazing. Like I was watching some of the people that you had on here before, and I'm like, holy cow, they're so talented. This is amazing. That's not the stuff that I'm doing. I really enjoy doing tumblers and full wraps and things like that, and I don't do a lot of them, but it's really satisfying when you design your own full wrap on a tumbler and then you engrave it and it works. And it looks cool, and you can put it on, and so
I like
that
the last part. When it works.
And it works. You're like, whoa, that worked. But yeah, I get pretty proud of that kind of stuff because it just takes a little bit more time and talent to be able to do it. But worst projects, there's a lot. You know, there's so many things I mess up all the time. You know, I don't post it usually. Sometimes I do, but yeah, you know, that's just part of it though. You're just screwing stuff up. Some things work and some things don't, and you learn from the stuff that doesn't. So
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have a favorite and least favorite material to laser beam?
I love acrylic. Acrylic is by far my favorite because you could do so much for it or with it. But it's lasering or printing. You can print on it too. And least favorite, I don't like engraving on bamboo. I just think it looks ugly. It's not good. And I don't like a leather, like real leather. It's really cool. It looks nice. It just smells bad. But
I love that smell.
That cow's on fire.
I love the smell. Must remind me of a steak or something.
Really gets up the appetite.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me at all. I don't know why.
It's not terrible. I can tolerate it, but I just don't do it a lot. So when I do it, I'm like, ooh, I remember how that smells. So, not my favorite.
I just don't have a sense of smell, so I'm like, oh well, sorry neighbors.
She literally does it. She's
Yeah.
about blowing her house up a few times because she leaves the gas on.
Yeah.
Fun fact if you didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Hashtag fire extinguishers ain't gonna work.
It's a good thing I'm not a smoker because if I lit a match,
How?
How'd it go?
that was a money done.
So do you have any other tools on the horizon that you're eyeing and trying to figure out how to break it to your better half and bring into the basement?
I mean, what do I not want? Honestly, that's an easier question. I almost bought a fiber laser, but I decided I wanted the UV more, and not that they're in the same ballpark, but you know, I decided to put the money towards the UV versus the fiber, just so I could do more with it. And I don't even know really what I'd use the fiber for necessarily. I mean, I know what I could do with it, but it's not really in my product line. It's just really cool, and I like watching it, and I want a new cool toy. A UV laser, because I would like to engrave on glass, and it's just better for that. So I've been eyeing those. Other types of printers, now that I've entered this whole different world of printers, there's DTF, DTG, you know, there's all this. It's really never going to end. My father-in-law asked me when they came to visit, he's like, because he doesn't really understand all of it and doesn't know how it all works. And he's like, so with your business, like, you know, at what point do you have all of the equipment that you could have to do what you do?
Never.
And I go, I can't answer that question. That doesn't exist. And he's like, no, but really, like, what stuff do you need? And then you'll have everything that you want. I'm like, I'm telling you, it will never end. There's never, it's never good.
Yep.
I can never have enough. It's never enough. I just think about it all the time.
Yeah.
It's real.
Was he trying to buy you a tool?
Yeah.
No,
Let me show you how to do that.
I think he's probably trying to wonder how much more money I'm going to spend on cool toys, just out of curiosity.
All of it.
All of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All of it.
Real
All
quick,
right.
out of the chat, Connie says that she loves your letter to Santa envelope ornaments. They were very cute.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love making those. They're a lot of fun.
Connie, there's a link below to her website, so
There you go.
I think there was a post lady in the comments that wanted all your failures. So
Yeah,
for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
She said she'd take care of them for you.
There she was.
I'll drop them
Yeah.
off. I'll drop them off. Yeah. Hey, I tried
Well,
to give her
Stephanie,
free stuff today, and she wasn't going to take it. So
There you go. Well, Stephanie, I'd like to thank you for coming on and joining us today. And we're at the part of the show. If you got anything coming up or want to shout out something that you've got in your website or whatever, here's the time to do it. And then we'll do a little round table and we'll get out of here.
yeah, so just as far as stuff that I have coming up, I plan on, once the holiday season is over, really diving into the UV that we talked about. And my whole goal is to try to just show what it can do, bridge the gap between laser and UV. And so I'm really excited about sharing the whole experience with everybody. Whether or not you're interested in buying a UV, it's cool to know. So that's what I plan on putting a lot out on my content. So if you're interested in that, check it out. And I'll still obviously be doing laser stuff. But, all the social media channels, you'll find me everywhere, the Country Porch Swing. And then I have my Facebook group for lasers. It's all things laser by the Country Porch Swing. And then I have a Facebook group for laser and UV too. So it's fire and ink.
There you go, Jake.
So
Cool.
please join.
We got Facebook groups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Jenny.
Well, hello. Thank you again, Stephanie. We really enjoyed having you on, and we learned a lot. Coming up this weekend, I have a 2-day craft show. It is my final one of the year, and then I think I'm going to sleep for a week. And
There you go.
that's about it.
There you go. Matthew.
I ain't got done. I messed up some cutting boards with some inlays, so now I'm doing some resin casting into them, and got some new tools for the CNC, so I'll be playing with those. That's about it.
Jamie Pye.
So I just went to a wood yard, got some a load of wood for the lathe. So I've got a nice load of new stock to turn. I've got a collaboration coming up with AGK to do a couple of signs for an abrasive company. So hopefully get starting on that this week. So yeah, that's about all I'm gonna be doing this week.
Here we go. We have Saturday morning cartoons coming up this week, and tomorrow at 6:00 Central Time on Instagram, I'll be getting interviewed by Eye Candy Pigments because Saturday morning cartoons is their maker of the month. So go to Instagram tomorrow and see what it ought to be. A couple knuckleheads talking to each other. It ought to be pretty fun. There you go.
There you go. I myself am trying to edit a video for YouTube. Let's see if that happens. I've got 3 weeks to do it because I'm on vacation. But other than that, doing some 3D printing. I got a desk to build. Excuse me. And yeah, that's about it. Next week, we have Drew Fisher on the show. Please remember to go to your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review. We sure messed up there. Excuse me.
Woo,
we sure
words, man,
appreciate it.
words.
Words are hard.
And remember, 10 stars. I want 10 stars. Please leave us a review. Stephanie, thank you. Y'all go check her out. She's we got a lot of people in here that use Lightburn. She's got some very, very helpful tips on Lightburn. Go give her a follow on Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. All her links are below. And I need to get ready here. Saying wrong one. I forgot about that. Anyway, same time, same place, same beautiful faces next week. And we're out of here. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Bye-bye.